Caffe Panna, signs of spring. I know, as I said in the first review, I know I'm late to the party. This is part 2. We have, rounding out the 6 pints, Razzy Prezz, Pecan carrot cake, or is it pecan? Carrot cake, and Panna PB Cup. And we're gonna start right there with the Panna PB Cup, which is a smooth peanut butter ice cream, handmade peanut butter cups from our friends at Cupped Desserts, thick panna caramel, and some graham crunch. It sounds like heaven. So I dropped this pint getting out of the freezer, and we got a little crackage right here. Oh well, just means I have to eat it all. Bummer. Look at this. Look at it. You can see the peanut butter ice cream. Where's my spoon? Here, my spoon. The peanut butter cups here. Graham crunch, thick caramel. I mean, this is dropped stuff already. We're in for a real treat. If you're unfamiliar with Caffe Panna's peanut butter base, it's incredible. Obviously, it's not the first time they've incorporated it into an ice cream, but it's everything you could want. It's perfectly balanced. It's not overly salty, but it has enough salt. And it's not too sweet. Very natural flavor. The key with it all, like I said, is it's balanced. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of salty. Texturally, one of the best probably, ice creams on the market. Thick, dense, creamy. This is arguably even thicker because of all the peanut butter that's incorporated into it. Nonetheless, phenomenal base. So I've never heard of these cupped desserts. I'm assuming it's a bakery of some sort or a shop of some sort in New York City that Caffe Panna has teamed up with. But they are making some killer peanut butter cups. Look at this. Oh, dropped it as usual. Check it out. Massive. That's actually 2 stuck together, so I guess that's kind of cheating. Compared to Reese's, this is completely different. It's nowhere near as artificial to start. The peanut butter within, it has a little denser bite to it. It's not as soft and mushy, and that's because it's probably made with like real, authentic, natural peanut butter. And with that, you get a saltier peanut butter flavor as well. Much, I shouldn't say much saltier, but saltier than the base, so kudos. The chocolate shell, it does freeze a little hard compared to, I'm gonna try to bite this here, compared to the Reese's cups. It's not a deal breaker. It's not as soft though. It does have a nice little crunch. The chocolate flavor, completely different. Nowhere near as sweet or as milky as a Reese's. This stuff is excuse me. Gotta wait, dear. It's a darker, it's not as bitter, but it's a darker, higher quality chocolate, and it's quite obvious. So you're getting a saltier peanut butter and a not so sweet chocolate with these peanut butter cups. We gotta hurry, this pint is leaking very fast. But I bet you've never seen that before. Eating ice cream from the bottom of the pint. Anyways, what we have left is the thick panna caramel and the graham crunch. Now we're definitely losing speed as we get to the bottom because it's not as abundant. It doesn't look like there's much left in there at all, really. Oof. I gotta get it together, guys. It was very top heavy though. The panna, the panna caramel. Oh, try not to let it slide. Why does it always slide? So you can see the thick, gooey caramel with some graham crunch. Get a little Reese's on there so you can, there we go. Now it'll hold it up. So you see the panna with the graham crunch. Here's the deal. No, it's not winter down here in Georgia. My panna t-shirt is in the wash. So I apologize. Having to rep the hoodie, Team Panna. Anyway, the panna caramel is just that. It's thick, It's dense, it's sticky, and as far as the flavor, I mean, it obviously pairs well with the peanut butter and the chocolate, but as far as the flavor, not salty, thankfully, because there's enough salt in the base and also the peanut butter cups. This is more rich, more buttery. Even more buttery and rich than it is sweet. Although it is sweet, it's more buttery and rich than anything. The Graham Crunch really doesn't do a whole lot as far as flavor. I kind of expected that. Even though the Graham Crunch is phenomenal, it's, you know, there's a lot of other stronger, more potent flavors going on here between the peanut butter and the chocolate and the salt. So it's really just there. I feel like I got this all over my sleeves. It's really just there as a, almost like a little grit, a little crunch to it. But I'm not mad at it. A few minor issues here, but this pint is very, very good. I highly suggest, once again, I know I'm late to the party, but if this flavor ever returns, you need it in your life. Panna PB Cup gets a 9 out of 10. Next up, Razzy Prezz, which is a hazelnut, hazelnut kissed chocolate ice cream, raspberry swirl, pretzel brittle, chocolate coated mini pretzels. These babies are, gotta cut down on my temper time here. You like that? Temper time? All right, here we go. Now we'll look here. All right, here we go. So you can see chocolate, hazelnut base, the raspberry swirl pretzel brittle, chocolate coated pretzels where some of the chocolates come off. We're gonna get there. But, let me just say how it is. I'm not a big raspberry chocolate guy. Never have been. This is good though. The base, you know, people make the mistake of every time they see hazelnut, they just think Nutella, you know, which I guess sometimes it is, but here it's mainly a chocolate base, and the hazelnut is kind of like a tone. It adds a little flavor to the ice cream. And it's more like the actual hazelnut. A little toasty, a little nutty. Nothing like that sweet stuff you get with Nutella. And that's paired with a chocolate that is not the sweetest, but it's also by no means a dark chocolate. Kind of floating in the middle there, which I think is, I can appreciate. Not too sweet, but not too bitter. Walks right down the middle. Allows the hazelnuts to shine a little more. Let's talk about these pretzels. So, you can see these are supposed to be the chocolate coated mini ones, and a lot of the chocolate coating has come off. I can see it kind of cracking around in there. But the coating is present more on some pretzels than it is others. Basically, the take home is some pretzels are a little stale, kind of that soggy chew, and some still do have a nice crunch to them. Just hit and miss. You don't know what you're gonna get. I'd say those guys, the mini chocolate coated pretzels, really don't add much flavor to the ice cream. More of a textural purpose. Now, this pretzel brittle on the other hand, which you can see some raspberry mixed into that chunk. Quite salty. And I'm here for it. More like a crunchier gravel. I guess you could almost say grit to it. But so that's a nice change from the mini pretzels, because they're more Slightly crunchy, but mainly chewy soft. But as far as flavor, it's really just an addition of salt. I'm still not getting a ton of pretzel. Now, the reason I enjoyed this pint more than I expected is because the raspberry swirl, which was top heavy, but you can see a little bit more down here, is pretty darn sweet, as expected. It's a fruit. It's just as sweet as a jam or jelly, but think more natural, but still a very, very sweet raspberry flavor. So all of that sweet raspberry really helps to offset the saltiness in the pretzel, and also the true high quality chocolate mixed with that toasted hazelnut flavor in the base. It's not a game changer, but it's a pretty good pint. Razzy Prezz gets an 8 out of 10. Last, and how's the saying go, certainly not least, pecan carrot cake. And yes, it is pecan here in Georgia. This is a toasted pecan ice cream, chunks of Lloyd's famous carrot cake, which I've seen all over the internet. Looks phenomenal. Candied pecan crumble and a spiced cream cheese swirl. Here we go. See a huge chunk of carrot cake right in the middle. Got some raisins around. The what is it? Candied pecan crumble is there. Just hard to really notice. Don't see much cream cheese swirl yet. So if I'm being honest, I would never identify the base as a toasted pecan. I'm not saying it's not good, because it is. But a lot of that's probably due to all the other mix-ins too, kind of pulling from the flavor of it. You can see a little flex in there. It does have a little bit of a, I'm going to say a cinnamon vibe. You could argue maybe a little nutty, but for the most part, I would never be able to identify this as toasted pecan. Carrot cake is one of my favorite cakes, one of my favorite desserts. These are huge chunks. Also, it's been a very top heavy pack. I know I'm saying that a lot with the mix-ins, but here's a huge chunk of the cake. And it is everything you can imagine in a carrot cake. It's moist, it's gooey, soft, full of all the spices. Even got a little pecan crunch in there. Shreds of carrot. And raisins. Have to have the raisins, you know? Great. I would love, absolutely love, I would kill to try a piece of this cake on its own. And the ice cream, it's phenomenal. Now where I taste the most pecan flavor, like where the pecans are the strongest, is the candied pecan crumble. And you can see a chunk of it right here in the middle. And I mean, it sounds simple. It's just that. It's chopped pecans that are then like candied with this glaze. It's almost like a brittle. So you have this natural, you have this, pecan. It's like eating a raw pecan. That's what I mean when I say natural. It's a raw pecan, but then it's got this sugary coating to it. So not only is the flavor that good, but you have this crunch, this just like you're chomping on an actual pecan. You got that crunch, that bite to it that's then coated in this glaze, and it gives it this sugary grit. It's a fun bite to have paired with that, let's call it very soft and moist carrot cake. There's one fairly big downside though with this pint, and that's the spiced cream cheese swirl. I need the cream cheese with my carrot cake. And here it's just, I'm down to the bottom, the last third, maybe quarter, and it's just not here. A rare miss from Caffe Panna. And it's a fairly big miss with this pint just because carrot cake, it needs cream cheese. Carrot cake has to have the cream cheese. So while everything else in this pint is very, very good, almost perfect in every way, it's just missing one of the main elements. And I'm sad to admit that. So, unfortunately, while this is still great, pecan carrot cake gets a 7 out of 10